Twitter questions number 4. I have a great question, and that is, can artists be prosecuted because of their works? This is a sad one, and sadly the answer is yes. So, art has the power to inspire people, to let them think and create, but it also provokes and it can hurt some. So each time in civilization, they define what is considered nice, good, beautiful, acceptable, and also what is not tolerable. So therefore, it happened several times in history that the reigning powers censored themes, took works into custody, or even destroyed them, and the artists were prosecuted because of their works. And there are different ways this happens. So if you look at it historically, there were several times when artworks were destroyed on a large scale. This is called iconoclasm. At the end of the 15th century, for instance, the Italian Dominican monk and preacher Girolamo Savonarola, totally butchered that one, burned a great many artworks in Florence because they did not align with his idea of what an artwork should be. So he had the opinion that art lost the way of serving to the glory of God. And thus, art was occupied to only show naked bodies and secular stories. But similar things happen all over the world at any time. So think about the Chinese Cultural Revolutions, the Japanese revolutions, think about the French Revolution, the Byzantine Empire, like every Ottoman wars that they had, the Gallic Wars with the Romans. So literally every great emperor in the last 2,000 years burned cultural artifacts of his enemies just to erase the history and the enemy from history. In the 20th century, not that long ago, the National Socialists in Germany, they defined what art should be like, and everything that was not according to their framework was called entartete Kunst, which means art that is not in order. Roughly 16,000 artworks were mainly Expressionists, Dadaists, Neue Sachlichkeit, Surrealists, Cubism, and Fauvist pieces were taken away from German museums. The artists that still lived were forbidden from continuing to produce such foul works. And the art professor Paul Klee, for instance, he lost his right to teach at the university. And that's why so many great artists of the 20th century from Germany fled to the US. Lastly, in the contemporary scene, this still happens, and actually more often than one might think. So, being an exhibitionist and just calling it art or performance is one thing, which is debatable. However, if you, for instance, have a performance that does not have any legal paperwork to back up the time and place where they perform, the police might remove, for instance, flash mobs and other performances because they're too big. But usually they realize the difference between a performance and group demonstration and the holding and stuff like that. So it often is not that big of a deal, especially in Europe, where we have a lot of goodwill from the police towards artists. However, artists such as Ai Weiwei in China, they're not as lucky. So in April 2011, he was imprisoned for a few months, and allegedly because he supposed a tax fraud. The Chinese minister stated that the provocative people such as Ai Weiwei need to be under tight control. So China, but also Russia, in Thailand, and many African states, and tons of other countries in the world, they imprison artists regularly because they criticize the current system. So if you think about the current protests in Hong Kong, it becomes somewhat clear that the very sensitive government does not want people to spark revolutionary thoughts, and even less so through arts that is just shareable. So they start to censor the internet, they forbid the artists from producing and their artworks, and ultimately they just remove them from society. And I think we have a long way still to go, but it will be worth it. Thanks for watching, I hope you like it. Leave a comment if you like those questions when I answer them, or if I should go more in detail or whatever you have. So I'm quite interested actually to hear your opinion, and if not, I just continue doing it until someone responds, which is really sad if I think about it. Well, anyway, see you around, bye!